Volume 3.
Somewhere out there, my parents are probably dead.
Every finger everywhere all at once. Was that good for you?
Chinese communist.
No, not the Chinese! Damn it, Prime! Where we're going, we don't need condoms. Can we go to a bar and just hit on random creepy dudes in their 40s? Really? You're fucked now, Batman! Daphne wants to go to the romance festival with me?
Let's do it.
What did the police officer say to his belly button? You're under a vest. How to disregard Jesus. No! No. Respect your elders, you little gobshite. Wait, I have to try. Loud and clear. Oh, it's not a gun! It's not a gun! Jesus Christ! If you woke up tomorrow and had 4 arms with no explanation, what would you do? Jerk off 4 times at once, obviously, because I already have 4 penises. He's the trader. Want to trade decorations with me? Of course I do. Any decorative item that you want of mine, speak up.
Yes.
I want your tire. What's belonged to Dennis?
What is Dennis?
Oh, such a good, funny movie. Oh, great for kids. Any other dinosaur movie, fucking whatever. But Jurassic Park, Jenny, you fucking watch it, because it's Jurassic Park, and it's all na 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 na, and you're all ooh. It is Wednesday, my dudes. This chicken is for this boy. Eat it. Oh my god. And there it goes. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh. I get to do shiving. Oh! Why do dads take an extra pair of socks when they go golfing? In case they get a hole in one.
Oh, cheeseburger. I'm a fucking cheeseburger. You know I'm a cheeseburger. Ah, yes!
Oh my god, it's a lap. I am happy to put Kitty in for a lap.
Fuck! Holy shit, that was close! Holy fuckaroonie! Just that small percentage chance that this just instantly kills him.
At last.
But baby! We got minions at home! The minions at home.
Okay.
Give it a good. Oh my god! Did I lock it? So, this is Incoherent Screaming. Volume 3.
Somewhere out there, my parents are probably dead.
Every finger everywhere all at once. Was that good for you?
Chinese communist.
No, not the Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Halloween. I don't know about this music yet. What is this? No copyright lo-fi Halloween songs. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, I'll give it a shot. It's something. It's something to just have on the background while we give this a go. It is kind of weird, huh? Alright, give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let's see what we got here. I forgot to post on Discord. Alright. So, we're having a pretty short day. Why? Because I don't know, I want to go do things on Halloween. I've got things to go do on Halloween, honestly. But I wanted to do a stream. And we haven't done a tier list stream in a long time, and I kind of thought, oh, this would be cool, right? And after hours of setup. It takes way longer to set up one of these than I thought it did. Especially when you're making your own one, and I had to make my own one. We have got 150 horror movies here because there's just nothing. There's just nothing you can do. If you want to actually do the whole horror genre, 150 felt like the minimum. There's got to be stuff here that's not, you know, there's just a lot that aren't here. I didn't put like every Friday the 13th movie. I've seen them all for some reason. Every Halloween movie, things like that. Like, you could do that, but it would take years, and you'd still just never get everything, you know? I've got a great selection. I've got, I think, all the important stuff. Literally, like, 5 minutes before I started, I kind of went, holy shit, I didn't put any Chucky films in. And, you know, like, there's just too many of these big franchises now. Horror is a huge genre. It's easy to make horror movies because they're cheap. They're just cheaper than other movies, okay? That's the truth of it. That's why everybody makes shitty horror movies instead of shitty anything else. Well, shitty monster movies too. Those kind of count as horror, I guess. Hi, Pierce. Hi, Savion. How's it going? Happy Halloween, guys. I am here, Emmy. I loved your little Pokemon Arceus stream. I think you should do more of that. I think you should do more of that. It's very nice to watch. Right. It's going to take a little bit of effort. 150 films, you know. We got S tier. S tier, like, outright 5-star movies. I don't know, like, I feel like A and B mostly are both 4-star. I feel like a lot of movies are 4-star movies. It's kind of, it gets too crowded. So I think it's good to have 2 for those. And then C is kind of 3-star, D is 2-star, F is the 1-stars. There's a fair few of those in there too. I made sure I wasn't just getting the good ones. No. I got some controversial horror movie opinions, I think, about a few of these for sure. There's a few that are really well renowned that I'm just like, nope. But we're just going to start at the top. Right. These are in no particular order, by the way. They just kind of loaded in a very randomized set. I did not control the order these came in. Hey, Foxes, how's it going? Happy Halloween. Hope you're enjoying your holiday. It's not really a holiday, is it? I'm guessing people are at school, mostly. I don't know. Either way, hope you're all having a good day. Brightburn, okay. Let's start. Brightburn is a horror movie. It was a nice horror movie, actually. It was pretty good. It came out five years ago or so. And it's basically what happens if Superman was evil. When he realized as a kid he had his powers, what if he kind of turned evil? And it was actually kind of good. It sounds like it should have been, like, trashy. It was quite well done. I think I'll go a B to start. Feels nice and safe. Get our bearings here. I kind of want 1 for each tier so that we know, like, where I'm at, you know? So we can kind of have a look around quickly and try to grab 1 for each tier. Oh, what's an A tier? Night House. Oh, the Night House came out, like, during COVID, and I was like, holy shit. I went to see it in the cinema, just kind of thinking, like, I guess. It didn't excite me too much, the trailer or anything, and then I saw it, and I was blown away. For, like, it's this woman, she's alone in her house, her husband's died recently, and then she starts uncovering this stuff about him, and she starts seeing things, and my god, a couple of the scenes are some of the scariest scenes I've ever seen in a cinema. Yep. Okay, it's great. It's really worth a watch. Not quite S tier, but it's good. It's very good. We need like a C tier. I'll put Slytherin. Slytherin. Slither is... It's a James Gunn film before he did like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff. He did some weird crap, and that is one of them. And it's got some recognizable people in it. It's about this like alien... There's tentacle... It's pretty weird, but I do enjoy it. I don't love it, but I do enjoy it. It's a C tier. Oh, you had your 4 lessons of science. Well, that's a pretty spooky, horrible thing to have on Halloween, huh? Oh, I wasn't, but school is in here. Oh, you're still off base? That's a shame. Hope you're feeling better. Better-ish. D tier. D tier. How about The Nun? The Nun is a D tier movie. Like, let's be honest. It's just... I don't know. I liked some things about it. I liked the setting. I thought it was bold, interesting. It's like set in the 50s in like, was it Croatia? It was like a Romania maybe, yeah. I think it's Romania. And it is quite a strange one. It's very gothic in style, which I normally like, but it didn't do a lot for me. I do think the second one, just came out recently, was a little bit better, but yeah. It's probably a D tier. F tier. Let me have a little look around. An F tier. A proper 1-star film. Ah, perfect. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So this just came out this year. It was early this year. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It is terrible. There's no doubting that it is actually terrible. It's just a dude in a Winnie the Pooh mask and a dude in a, well, not a Piglet mask. At least the Winnie the Pooh mask kind of looks like Winnie the Pooh, you know? The Piglet one, nope, just looks like a big scary pig, man. And I don't know what happened to the rest of them. I think they ate Tigger and everybody else, yeah. And it's live action. It's a horror movie. These people just come. Christopher Robin, was it? I think Christopher Robin... Oh, yeah, Christopher Robin comes back to the 100 Acre Woods as an adult long after he left them alone and they were forced to eat each other. This is a real film. And then this group of women who are scantily clad turn up for like a house party at a nearby house. And then Winnie the Pooh and Piglet start murdering them too. Yep. That's the whole film, basically. Back in tomorrow. Ah, cool. Very nice. And then we need an S tier. There's a few. I don't give out like many like really like high like oh my god this is hugely amazing to horror movies, even though I enjoy watching them and have watched like all of these and plenty more. Train to Busan. Oh crap. Doesn't want to go. Train to Busan. Train to Busan is awesome. That sounds fantastic. It is amazing. It is horrible. It is an F tier movie, but it is so funny at the same time. It's so bad, but it made me laugh so much. I do love it. Train to Busan is just one of the reasons why everybody should watch Asian cinema. I sound like a prick when I said that. I sound like, oh yes, Asian cinema is really coming along. But dude, Korean zombie movies, holy crap, there's like 4 or 5 genuinely amazing ones that are better than just pretty much any American zombie movies in the last like ever. Train to Busan is it's badass. It's really cool. And then I got excited because I found out there was like a sequel and an anime movie prequel. And I watched both and they were both kind of bad. But Train to Busan itself is incredible. If you like zombies, if you like Koreans, if you like anything, just anything, try it out. It's so good. That's a proper... Oh, I've got a few. When you go onto these like best list of horror movies, when I was trying to get like a whole list for this, a lot of them were like foreign, and I was like, okay, but I haven't seen like, but I've seen some. I've seen a few, so I put a few on. Try and be fair, have a nice spread, you know? Right, now we've got one from each tier and just kind of start going through. Rosemary's Baby is really old, but doesn't actually feel as old as some other horror movies when you watch it. It's about this woman, and she's having a baby, and her friends and stuff around her in the apartment. They think it's going to be the Antichrist and all of that kind of stuff, you know? It's pretty freaky. For like a 60s horror movie, it's pretty like super weird and freaky. It's still pretty good to watch back. I might go B. It's not one of my favorite like old ones, but it is a real classic. For these kind of like demon possession, baby, Antichrist kind of ones, like that's the OG pretty much, I think. And it's awesome. Yeah. The Addams Family from the 90s. That's proper good shit right there. That has to be an A, right? It's a little generous, but like I put in a few of these that aren't so much, maybe they don't fully count as horror movies, but like horror family, horror comedy kind of ones that like when you're a kid you watch at Halloween, you know? Like it felt right doing this on Halloween to put them in. I've got the live action Scooby-Doo, I got Monster House. I got a few like that, right? I got Hocus Pocus in here somewhere, I'm pretty sure. Beetlejuice, The Nightmare Before Christmas. By the way, I figured it out, okay? Everyone always asks, is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie? Or is it a Christmas movie? Here's the pro move, okay? You want the pro move? On Halloween evening, like I'm gonna go do, after this, you sit down and you watch some scary movies, some horror movies, Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters, Saw, whatever you fancy, whatever tickles your pickle, you know? Whatever floats your boat. Whatever scratches your banana, I don't know. That's not one. But then, okay, near the end of the night, specifically, I believe, 11:44:32 p.m. About quarter to midnight. About. That'll basically get you there. If you start watching The Nightmare Before Christmas at a quarter to midnight on Halloween, you start and finish Halloween in Halloween time. Okay? But as it hits midnight, and it's therefore November, Halloween is over, the Christmas season has begun because it begins on the 1st of November. We can all agree on that, right? Then, that's when he enters Christmas time for the first time. Worked it out. Just for you guys. Big brain. Big brain. Toy Story was my kid horror movie. To be fair, there are some freaky scenes in Toy Story, okay? Right. Let's get a move on here. The Descent. The Descent is one of the best British horror movies ever. Put that out there, okay? Amazing. It just deals in so many very real terrors, like the horrible claustrophobia. Oh, it's definitely one of the most claustrophobic horror movies. It's this group of women, not scantily clad so much, surprisingly. They go spelunking in this cave system, but the person that led them down there actually, is leading them into, an unexplored cave system so they can discover it. And then they find all of these, horrible mutant things in there. It's like the game The Forest. It's a bit like that. Like the caves in that. And it is really terrifying. It's awesome. I think that's an A. That's a fairly good A. The Witch is a really weird horror movie. It introduced us to Anya Taylor-Joy, who's awesome. But it's just kind of like this family in the, 1600s or whatever. And they're, outlawed from their village. And then they're living out in the wilderness. And this, witch starts, fucking with them. And there's this goat, man, thing, demon, Satan. It's a pretty bizarre film, and everyone said, oh, this is incredible. And I kind of watched it at last, and I was like, yeah, it's alright. I honestly think it's a C. It's slightly harsh, but didn't do a lot for me. The Black Phone is one of the best horror movies from last year. Last year? Yeah, it was last year. I think they just announced they're doing a second one, which I'm not excited about because I don't want them to do that. I don't want them to ruin it. It was a nice one-off horror movie, you know? But it was really cool. It's about this kid, he gets kidnapped, and this just normal psychopath kind of guy, has him locked in a basement, but then this phone in the basement starts ringing, even though it's disconnected. And on the other end are these kids that this guy's already killed. And it's their ghosts, and it's based on a short story by Stephen King or something like that, or it's his son helped make it, or it's related to kind of Stephen King's style in a lot of ways, and it does feel very much like that. It was good. Is it an A? It's maybe a B. It's close to an A. It is good. It's really good. Freaky, I just rewatched. Freaky is about Vince Vaughn, who is a serial killer, switching bodies accidentally with a teenage girl. And it's awesome. It's really funny. It's really funny. It's really stupid at times, but it's really funny. It's well done. Also a B. I do feel like we're gonna have too many B's, you know? I think that's a B. I think I've got a couple of Candyman films on here. I've got the original and the remake. I think that's the poster for the remake. This is the problem with just having the posters. I'm pretty sure. This is also why I didn't do too many remakes. There's a lot of horror movie remakes, but I ignored most of them. But Candyman kind of felt like such a big release, this remake, that I was like, okay, I'll include it. And I didn't like it much. No. I liked the original better. The remake, everyone touted it as one of the best modern horror movies, and I was kind of like, huh? it was pretty bad. Not really bad, but maybe a D. I didn't think it was great at all. Same for Nope. I loved Get Out, and I loved Us. And then Nope came out, and I really was so hyped. I expected to love it, and I mean, there were some good moments, like the blood coming down all over the house when the guy's just sitting in the car and he looks up and he's like, Nope. Just sits there. Like, it's got its moments, but in general, I didn't think it was great. And all that crap about the monkey. Yeah, it was a weird film. It was okay. I might maybe give that one a C, but not any higher. No. Crawl. You know, crocodiles. People make like Lake Placid. They make. There's some bad crocodile films out there. You know, Mega Gator versus Mecha Shark, things like that. Shark movies are more common, but like crocodiles, I felt like there weren't many really good crocodile kind of movies. Crawl is a good crocodile movie. It's very short, but it just takes place during like a hurricane in Florida, and this big ass crocodile gets into this girl's house when she's trapped there, and it's awesome. It's really good. It's really well done. It's probably not an A either. Wow. I'm kind of harsh on the A's, aren't I? Yeah, a little bit. I'll move Black Phone up. Yeah, that seems fair. Seems about right. This is the oldest one I've got. I think it's the oldest film I've ever seen. Maybe. It's a silent movie. It's from like 1920. It's over 100 years old now, I'm pretty sure, this one. It's called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And it inspired a lot of early horror stuff. I kind of went to watch it and I was like, this is going to be like terrible, right? And there's genuinely like a couple of moments where you like see the face of the guy he keeps in the cabinet and it's like, and I can imagine it being like genuinely terrifying to people who aren't massively desensitized to horror like me when they watched it back in the day. But I mean, it does age. There's no question about it. Like, you can't rewatch that today and still be like, oh my god, it's the greatest horror movie ever, because it's not. And all of these critics and people who are like compiling these lists of best horror movies ever and still put like, if they're putting like the scariest horror movies ever and they put like The Exorcist as number 1, I'm just kind of like, come on. Come on. The Exorcist is great, but it definitely aged. It definitely aged a lot. You can't deny it. But they try to for some reason. I don't get why. Hello again, PS. Doctor Sleep is awesome. This is one of my most controversial horror movie opinions. Ugh, I wish they were in the order that I put them in. This thing just kind of puts them in whatever order it wants. Where is The Shining? There it is. Yeah, The Shining, I don't like. That's another one that some people refer to as the best horror movie of all time. But you know who doesn't like it? Stephen King, the guy who wrote The Shining. Like, he doesn't like that movie. And at the time, people didn't like it. The Razzies, the thing that's like the anti-Oscars that gives out awards for the worst movies of the year, they nominated Stanley Kubrick for director. I don't like Stanley Kubrick as a director. I don't like 2001: A Space Odyssey. I don't like A Clockwork Orange. This is one of my biggest, like, whoa, controversial kind of film opinions when I talk about like film with people, because he's made like a lot of the most famous movies of all time. 2001: A Space Odyssey is huge in the sci-fi genre, and Clockwork Orange is just huge in general. Full Metal Jacket is a huge war movie. And he made The Shining, which is considered one of the best horror movies of all time. I love The Shining, the book. That's one of my favorite books in the world. And I can't get on board with it. I've watched it like 5 or 6 times to try and like go, but people love it. What am I missing? I don't get what it is, but I don't like it. I like Jack Nicholson. I like his performance, but I cannot get on board with it as a good film. I'd give that like a C. I don't see what people call like incredibly amazing in that. That is The Twins, yeah. But then Mike Flanagan, who I think is awesome, he's one of the best horror guys today. He did like The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix and stuff. He made Doctor Sleep, which is a movie based on the sequel to The Shining that Stephen King made. He wrote that, and then they made it into a movie. And that was so much better. I thought that was incredible. I genuinely thought that was an all-timer. And nobody talks about it. Everybody's like, oh yeah, still The Shining. And nobody talks about Doctor Sleep, which I think is just an outright modern classic. I've only seen that one a couple times, but blew me away so hard. Because I kind of thought like, oh yeah, Shining didn't really work as a film. That one probably won't either. But now I just want to see the guy who made Doctor Sleep do a remake of The Shining, because then I think I'd love that. I think that'd be great. They probably won't do it. It's sad. I don't know what this music is, by the way. It's pretty weird. It's pretty kooky. This is Scream from 2022. Again, like, I want to do them together, but where's OG Scream? Where's it thrown it? Too difficult to find things. There's too many. It's funky, the music? Yeah, it's called lo-fi, like, Halloween mix. It's pretty weird. Oh, there's Scream 6. There's 5 and 6. I just got the most recent two because they're so relevant right now. And the original for Scream. I'm a big fan of the franchise, but I don't know where Scream is. Weird. Very weird. Huh. It's there somewhere, but unless I put in Scream and got that one and not the other one. I was collecting so many photos at once. There's no way I missed Scream, right? Add additional images to your tier list. Excellent. One moment. It might just be there and I haven't seen it yet, but I'll not take the chance. Yeah, the music is kind of funky. Right. 1 second. Let me fix this in case I've done a spoopy silly. I could just add more things as I go if anyone's got any glaring things that they think I've missed, but kind of doubt it. Well, I doubted that I missed this, but I don't see it anywhere. Maybe I'll run across it later. Anyway, Scream, my favorite. It's my number one. It's my number one favorite horror movie of all time. Maybe try and rank some of these S tier ones as I go. Scream's just awesome. It's just awesome. I just went last two weeks ago and saw, for like a Halloween thing, Scream outdoor cinema in the evening in this like country park. Oh, it was cool. It was cool. I loved that. And I really loved the kind of requel they did, Scream 5, which is also just called Scream, which does annoy me. It's really good. It's really well done. It's probably just an A. And then Scream 6. I liked the idea of setting it in New York because it's quite different, and I liked some of the scenes they did. Thought it was really well done. It's definitely not quite on the level of the 5th one, so I'll go B. Seems about right. Slightly harsh B, but yeah, I think that's about right. How was my art? Your art's been looking good, Piers? Very good, very nice. Right. Is that just Annabelle? I might have multiple Annabelle films in here, I can't remember. But that, I think, is just Annabelle. Which sucks, right? It sucks! The first Annabelle film, they had so much they could do with that. I don't know, with like, there's a lot of doll horror movies, right? There's a lot of doll horror movies. And I never understand the idea of having adults be the main characters in those. Like, dolls could be scary to adults. You know, possessed doll, scary to anybody. But it feels like it just works a lot better if it's a possessed doll, like, going after kids. You know? That's why Annabelle 2 and Annabelle 3 I thought were a lot better than Annabelle 1. Because they had the doll going after children. Annabelle, stick it in, like, F, basically. It's a pretty bad one. What else is pretty bad up here? Infinity Pool came out this year. Finished in 2. He's my least favorite. Yeah. Infinity Pool was kind of weird. Mia Goth is like one of the modern absolute queens of horror. She has been in the last like 3 years in like 4 or 5 major horror movies. Like, and a lot of them are really good. She is good at being freaky. Infinity Pool was this kind of weird take on like the rich. It was kind of scary at points. There was a lot of just naked people dancing. It was just kind of weird for the sake of being weird, it seemed like. So that's probably a D. Yeah. There's one of the other Annabelles. Annabelle Creation, then, was set in like an orphanage filled with kids and was so much better. That was Mike Flanagan who made Dr. Sleep, I think, did Annabelle Creation. And it was great. It was much better. I think that's like a B. It's like a B tier. And Annabelle Comes Home. See, now they're all next to each other. Annabelle Comes Home. Yeah, I did actually like it. It was kind of set in the Warrens' house. their daughter and like babysitters, so like teenagers, still kids it was going after. I put that as like C. Annabelle Creation's got to be the best Annabelle. Yeah, there's not a lot of franchises like that I actually put them all in for. I just put a lot of the Conjuring films in and I was like, I might as well. Pi just doesn't like kids, he complains when children don't die. No, that's the thing, you don't even need to have, well, yeah, in Annabelle Creation, I think some children might die. But you don't even need to have children dying or anything, you just have to have like the doll chasing them, because that, I don't know, it makes it scarier, you know? It just makes it a lot more terrifying, because it feels like there's so little that children could do against something like that, you know? Not that, I mean, when it's a possessed doll or demon or something, what can adults do, you know? But those kind of films, a lot of the time, they're just a lot smarter when they make it a kid as, like, the primary character that's being chased around. I think. Saw. Saw's pretty legendary. I'll put it on A. Yeah. I'm really reserving S tier for, like, my personal, like, favorites, almost. Saw is great. It's a modern classic. It should be. It's got Carrie Elwes in it from Princess Bride, so it's an instant win. But, yeah, I've always thought at its very best the franchise was very good. Not like, you know, it doesn't like, even the first one on its own doesn't really just boom me away, you know? Split is also pretty damn good. Split's a really good movie. Oh, it's probably an A. Yeah. James McAvoy was terrifying. He had these like 24 different personalities. It was freaky as hell. It was really well done. It's a good idea that hasn't, I mean, in smaller degrees it's been used, you know, split personality stuff throughout many years of horror, but no, not so much. Not so much. 24 different personalities. That's pretty crazy. Smile is pretty disappointing. Smile is one of those times, there's a few of these in the last like 10 years, I feel, and these are the ones that I'm going to harsh on pretty hard here. Smile is one of those movies that was just like, oh my god, holy crap, all the critics going wild for it, everybody going like, this is an incredible, this is one of the best horror movies ever. and then I went to see it and I was like, I've seen this like 20 times. And maybe it's just me getting like cynical, having seen too many horror movies or something, I don't know. But I was just kind of like, what? it doesn't, it did nothing for me. It was really the same thing I've seen, like, I feel like I've seen exactly this a bunch of times before. Truth or Dare is another film. Came out like a few years before that one. Used the same, like, kind of creepy smiling thing as, like, the premise that they were possessed when that happened. D feels slightly nice, yeah. But there are a few like that where I'm just kind of like, the fuck? I've seen this so many times already. I don't get what's special about it. I don't like horror movies, it's scary to me. Well, yeah, they're scary to a lot of people. But some people don't find that an appeal, which is fair enough. Right, this is another one from this year, Boogeyman. Boogeyman was okay. Boogeyman was one I expected the opposite from. You know, it didn't have huge expectations or anything going in. But I was kind of like, hey, you know, actually this is doing pretty well. Oh. And it was pretty good all the way through. Maybe just a C. Still didn't do anything like amazing or anything, but I was kind of like, yeah, but then I was pretty happy. I agree, I haven't watched them for ages. Fair. You like it? Like it, yeah. Well, I mean, most horror movies don't actually really scare me much, but I'm really impressed with the ones that do, and yeah, no, I'm okay with being scared. I like the horror genre in general. I think there's a lot of cool stuff in it. There's a lot of room for creativity in the horror genre. As much as people feel like, oh, everything's been done, it hasn't. And people keep coming up with inventive stuff every year. No, I really enjoy them. I really enjoy them a lot. And it is so much easier to go and make a film, you know? Talk to Me. Where's Talk to Me? Step Up. Where is it? There. Talk to Me is probably the best horror movie of this year. It's awesome. And it was made by a couple guys in Australia who started out as just YouTubers. They were just YouTubers. But you can, in the horror genre, much more than in most genres, you can get a whole bunch of money together that is enough to make the movie when it just wouldn't be. It just wouldn't be, you know. You can, I don't know what the budget was. Actually, I might look that up as a good example. $4.5 million, you know? Which sounds like it's a lot, doesn't it? But any movie nowadays, anything that's actually going into the cinema, generally it's going to have tens of millions in budget. 4.5 million for a movie is tiny nowadays. And yeah, it's not like literally anybody can go out and make, you know, that. Not everybody's got that kind of finances and backing, but to get that kind of backing for a movie is relatively easy. So that's why there's so many more horror movies in cinemas than there are of like any other genre generally, you know? They should leave Winnie the Pooh alone, that's too far. It is. I'll give Talk to Me an A. It was really well done. I thought the concept, I was kind of like, this sounds like it's just not going to work that well, but then it intrigued me. It was a lot better than I expected, honestly. Ringu. Another foreign one. Ring. I didn't want to put The Ring on because there has been a couple of American movies about The Ring, and they're bad. They're just real bad, and I just didn't want to even talk about them. But the Japanese original Ringu, still scary, still terrifying, still good, just good. I don't think it's like top tier for me, but it's like a B. Ringu sounds like Pingu. Perfect. Excellent. Exactly. Yes. The Haunted Mansion movies. Much more chill. Much more friendly family horror. Kinda bad. Let's just not lie. Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion is one of those movies that I saw a few times through my childhood. And every time I was kind of like, oh yeah, the Haunted Mansion, cool. And then I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, Haunted Mansion, not that, no, it's kind of bad. I'll put it in like D. You know, it's not like worst of the worst, but it's kind of bad. Just kind of bad. And then they made the remake this year. And does it have a penguin? If not, false advertisement. That's not how that works, please. Yeah, the Haunted Mansion one from this year, really bizarre. Weird story. Some strangely adult themes for what I thought was going to be like a kid-friendly horror movie. It felt like a kid-friendly horror movie at times, and then not at other times. It was pretty all over the place, actually. The cast was pretty good, but it came out in July. It came out in like July. The Haunted Mansion. If that had come out right now, it would have made just so much more money. I don't know what they were thinking, really, at all. It was fine, but again, it's like a C. Like, there has not been like a really, hey, Haunted Mansion movie yet to me. No One Will Save You was another weird one. That just came out recently, and it's about, the first part of it is awesome. It's about this girl. She lives alone, isolated place. And an alien ship comes down, and an alien comes into her house, and she's like fighting against it and like running and hiding, and it's awesome. It was really good, and I saw like a trailer, and I was so hyped. I saw the first half, and I was so hyped. I was going, oh my gosh, how are they gonna keep this up? And they kind of didn't. It started getting not quite as good near the end. It's still probably a C tier. It was still pretty good. Hey, imagine there's a Pingu horror film. That I would watch. That I would watch the shit out of. There is Velocipaster. Now, the Velocipaster is the best worst horror movie ever. It's about a priest who goes to China, and he gets cut by a dinosaur claw and turns into a T-Rex man, like a werewolf, but for dinosaurs. And it's awesome. It's my favorite really cheap bad movie. It's my absolute favorite one. I don't know where to put it here, because it is without a doubt a bad movie. But it's meant to be, you know? He fights ninjas. He fights ninjas that, like, that are smuggling cocaine. You know? It's so bad, but I do love it. But it's so bad. We'll put it on F, but at the top of the F tier. It deserves its pride of place as the worst, best, bad film. Yes. There it is. There it is. Renfield also came out this year. I've got a lot of the big releases from this year on. A little bit of recency bias here. We've got a lot of the best movies of all time, but we've also got some of the big ones from this year. Renfield is awesome. Nicolas Cage plays Dracula, and he's just this dick. He's just this really comedically asshole-y prick. And Nicholas Hoult plays Renfield, his servant, who's just kind of wandered about for 100 years, getting him bodies to feast on and stuff. It's so funny. It's really well done. I'll put it on B. Yeah. That seems about right. That seems about right. It does. Yeah. Scary Movie is another one. Kind of going through a lot of the not actually that frightening films right now. Scary Movie is one of the absolute pinnacles of horror comedy. It is it's the dumbest form of dumb American comedy, but in a really fun way. I don't know if that makes sense. It means it's not good, but it is very fun. Like it's like a C tier film. But I've watched it quite a few times because it's just so fun and silly. It's you know, they made so many of these after that. They made like 5 scary movies. Then they made like Date Movie and not another teenage romance movie, and like there's a whole genre now. And they're all so garbage. Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans, like ugh, so many really awful rip-off movies. But Scary Movie was kind of good. The live-action Scooby-Doo. Just another classic. Just another kind of thing that, like, you gotta watch that on Halloween. If you're like a kid, that's one of the absolute, like, pinnacles of stuff to sit and watch on Halloween, right? Also not that good. No, not really. I got like so many great memories of movies like that. But is it actually that good, you know? Yeah, it's also pretty stupid. If we're being honest with ourselves, it's also a pretty stupid film. But again, in just such a good way, in such a good way, you know. It's just wonderful. Epic as in many people on hummingbirds? No, Epic Movie. It's called Epic Movie. As in awful. Epic was fine. Just kind of fine. Monster House. Another one. A true classic. It actually, as far as like hitting me at the right age, did Monster House? I guess, yeah. It probably came out when I was about 11. Yeah, it hit me at the kind of perfect age for someone who wasn't quite old enough to start watching horror movies. I started watching horror movies quite early. My sister had like this collection. She garnered up this collection of horror movies that were all from like 2007, 2008. Because that was just when it was. And she just had those sitting on her shelves. And I just, at probably 12 or 13, started just taking ones occasionally, sneaking them off to watch them. And that's how I kind of got into horror. And most of those films were terrible. My goodness. There's a lot of crap. Like 2007, 2008 is a bad period for horror movies. There is so much crap in there. I don't even know if I have many of them on this list because they're just not even memorable enough that people would know them now, you know? I see, yeah, it was different. It was kind of weird. Monster House, though, it hit me at the right kind of time. And it is good. It is pretty good. It's kind of fun, animated, trashy style to it, but it was actually pretty well done, pretty enjoyable. Pretty enjoyable on rewatch. Rewatched it a couple times since then. I'd give that like a B. Yeah. What else isn't actually that scary? Oh, Totally Killer. I said earlier that Talk to Me is probably the best horror movie of the year. Totally Killer might be my favorite, though. I just watched this. This is really, really new out, like a couple of weeks ago. I just watched this, like, last weekend. And it is awesome. It has got such a perfect blend of comedy and actual kind of horror and slasher meta stuff and time travel. It's one of those films that manages to not feel trashy while doing a bunch of silly, trashy, stupid stuff, you know? And to manage to not feel trashy while doing all that is amazing. I would almost put that on S. But I've just watched it for the first time. Possibly premature. I might put it there. I might put it there for now. I'm feeling it. It was so good. I was born the same year as Monster House was released. That makes me sad. Really? Wow. That makes me sad. Holy crap. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane. Okay. Moving on. God. What else? What else? Hotel Transylvania. Yeah, not great, is it? Like, no. None of them are. None of them are. 2006? Wow. Hurts my brain a little bit, Base. It hurts my brain a little bit. Okay. Wow. Goodness. Crap. Alright, cool. Fuck. Alright. Gojira, the original Godzilla, 1954, Japan, giant reptile, tax Tokyo. Is it actually that good to watch back? Kind of. Because it was very well made. And even though Godzilla is a puppet sometimes, and it's not scary anymore, the actual like messages behind it and the actual like scripting were so good. So good. Is Hotel Transylvania really a horror movie? Angels, you gotta put on all of the family horror movies that people watch at Halloween, you know? It's Halloween Day. I'm reminiscent for the times when I used to not really be old enough to watch horror movies. We still had a great time on Halloween. How? We'd watch things like, not so much Hotel Transylvania for me, personally, but Scooby-Doo, Monster House, Hocus Pocus, Beetlejuice. None of these are horror movies. None of them. But they're great. And family horror movie is actually a genre of cinema. It is. There's different types of horror. There's horror comedies. There's horror family movies. There's sci-fi horrors. There's fantasy horrors. There's zombie horrors. These are all separate genres, really, at this stage. Supernatural horror and slasher horror and gremlins, whatever the fuck you call that. You know? Family horror is a genre. And we got it on Halloween. How can we not talk about things like Hocus Pocus, Scooby-Doo, Hotel... Nah, not really Hotel Transylvania still. It's just not that good. But, you know, the idea is there. I will now type blindly. Don't do that. That's a good way to get timed out. It's a decent film. One of the only ones I watched that's on this list. Hotel Transylvania. It's good enough that if you watched it at the right age, which I definitely didn't, it would kind of hit you and do the same things for you that like Monster House did for me, because I was more at the right age then, you know. Hotel Transylvania, I was definitely, you know. Anyway, what else? What else is not really scary? I'm kind of going through those right now. Oh yeah, Gojira. I didn't actually put it in. Yeah, Gojira. Like I'd put it on like maybe like a B. Slightly harsh, but it does age. If you're talking about as a horror movie, it doesn't work that well anymore. That's true. That's true. All right. What else isn't scary? Where's the other nice things? Oh, Shaun of the Dead. Yes. Shaun of the Dead is awesome. It feels harsh to leave it off the S tier. so I won't. I just won't. I was 5 to 7 when it came out. What, Hotel Transylvania? Fair enough. I don't even know the plot of Blood and Honey. You don't want to. You don't need to. No. 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 Alright, well, let's see. Dig through some of these. There's still quite a lot to go. Right. Let's get back to the horror ones. What do we got here? We got Dog Soldiers. There aren't actually that many werewolf horror movies. You know? You got some of the, like, classic, like, really old stuff. And then you got kind of like An American Werewolf in London's quite a big famous one. But, like, there's just not a lot, you know? There's just really not a lot. If I had to pick out a favourite one, it'd be Dog Soldiers. This is another British film. It's about this group of SAS guys. They go into this remote place because there's training or something they're doing, or there's something weird going on, and they find this group of werewolves. And SAS guys versus werewolf, it just sounds incredibly fun, right? And it is kind of trashy-ish. But it's also just, when you actually look back at it, you're kind of like, yeah, actually, that's one of, like, the best werewolf horror movies there is, because there's really not that many of them. And you do hear people talking about it, even though when I first watched it, I thought it was like one of these crazy random movies my dad had dug up, and then I realized, oh no, it's actually quite well known, it's actually quite famous, and it should be, it's well done. Probably like a B though. Yeah. Original Night of the Living Dead. This started basically the zombie genre. If you don't know where zombies come from, the oldest movie that's about zombies is from about 1932, I think, and it's just called like Zombie. And the zombies in that were actually, it was all to do with like voodoo magic. It was like this evil kind of witch doctory dude that was performing like voodoo magic on people so that they kind of went like all, you know? That's what zombies were. Until 1966, when George Romero made Night of the Living Dead. And that is like zombies, you know, as you would think of them today. Flesh eating, blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff. It was him. He made it all, basically. It was all his Jimmy Jam. It's not actually that good to watch back today, the original. It's okay. It's nice to watch back. It's kind of interesting to see. But, you know, it's hard to give it higher than a C. Probably. Dawn of the Dead. Oh, wait. Do I have both Dawn of the Deads? I'm not actually sure. Can I just say so far I've seen... Oh, really? I mean... 2? Wow. I mean, you're not a horror guy, really, right? So, kind of fair enough. Which 2? I'm interested. What have you actually seen? It's the Velocipaster, right? It's got to be the Velocipaster. There's no point having seen any of the others. Saw and Scooby-Doo? Oh. 2 very similar movies, yeah. Oh, wow. Well, I mean, you should definitely, after your adventures watching Killer Sperm from Outer Space, you should watch the Velocipaster. You should look it up. If not, also Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. But definitely the Velocipaster. I know you're just not a film guy, though, in general, as well. Yeah. I'll do, after I've watched enough, I'll do a tier list ranking anime. After I've actually watched enough of them. I've maybe watched enough anime movies. I could definitely do a Ghibli one. But I could watch a dog shitting in the woods and it'd be more fun. Than what? Than the Velocipaster? The Velocipaster is awesome. Alright, it's awesome. Wait, I'll come back to Dawn of the Dead because I'm not sure if I've got the original or the remake there. I don't know if I have both on. If not, that's probably just the original. Okay. Insidious. You know, the 2010s in horror, it was all just supernatural, generic, demon-y movies. The Conjuring was, like, definitely the best of them, but I think Insidious is one of the ones that really kick-started it. Like, this American mainstream fascination with just constantly doing the same fucking thing over and over. It was just like, oh, this family moves into this house. Oh, there's something going on in the house. Oh, Spooky stuff's happening in the house. We gotta convince people the spooky stuff's happening in the house. Now we gotta go find a priest or, you know, old woman with magical weird abilities or whatever to explain to us what this is. And then we figure out a way to defeat it. But at the very end, yeah, it's not over. Sequel. That was Insidious. But... but it was one of the better done versions of that. It's not that great, but it's probably like a B. Yeah, they've made like 5 of them now. I'm not a horror guy, yeah. Yeah, they've made like 5 Insidious films now, and most of them are pretty bad. But the original's fine. I still watch it back today, and I'm kind of like, yeah, you know, yeah. The Pope's Exorcist. That came out this year too. There's been quite a lot of like quite major horror releases this year. The Pope's Exorcist, it was pretty bad. I didn't think it was going to be like an outright horror movie because it was like Russell Crowe was in it, and I was like, Russell Crowe's not going to star in just some random priestly, demony horror movie, but he did, and it was bizarre. It felt like a script not made for someone of Russell Crowe's caliber at all. It was quite fun in it, but it was. Some people were praising it. I was kind of like, really? So I'm gonna give that like a D. I think pretty safely. Yeah. The menu is awesome. The menu came out last year, and it is awesome. Oh my goodness. They go to this restaurant. It's like a super fancy restaurant. Most of the characters are just pricks, and Ralph Fiennes is there, fucking Voldemort himself, who was just like, all right, so we're gonna eat, and then you're all gonna die. And from there, it takes it away. It's so well done. It's got like really kind of like sharp wit. It's quite blackly comedic. It's really interesting. I loved it. That's an A. Where else? What else? I feel weird having so few, like, F's and S's. I know there's a few more out there. Look at this little run. Hocus Pocus, Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice. That's just an awesome little set of, like, you could just watch that. I could just finish stream, put those 3 on back to back to back tonight, and I'd love it. That'd be great. I mean, I still stand by, I think Ghostbusters is one of the best comedy films. Just ever. There's so many amazingly quotable lines. There's... it's genuinely, it's like right up there. Like, if I'm putting Scream on top of this list, Ghostbusters is right next to it. It's closing in on, like, my top 10-ish kind of maybe films ever. Ghostbusters is... so next level. It's so much better than it has any right to be, you know, for that kind of film. It is awesome. It really is. I love it. Hocus Pocus is not as good, but it is great. Like, it's just these 3 witches. They're resurrected. They don't get modern day. Well, it's not modern day. It's like the 90s or whatever, but yeah. I mean, I put a spell on you, that song alone, right? Oh, I kind of have to put it on A. It's just that good, old bean. It's just that good. And then Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is also kind of just that good, isn't it? Throwing away a lot of A's here, but, I mean, Beetlejuice is awesome. It's so fun. It's so funny. It deserves it, you know? It's great. Alright. Let's say we're about halfway at least. Gotta keep chundering through these. Okay. What else? We got the 2 Gremlins movies. Gremlins isn't that great. Like, the first one's pretty funny. The second one just kind of did the same thing again and wasn't that great doing it. I think that's pretty fair, yeah. The first one is good. It's well done. It's got kind of a sick sense of humor to it. It's quite blackly comedic as well. It was well done. It was well done. There's the original Halloween. Let's see. Because I got the other one sitting here. OG Halloween's one of those movies, if you ask me. I love rewatching 80s horrors. 80s horrors and like slashers and stuff, I just think are infinitely rewatchable even today. Gremlins scared me when I was a little kid. Gremlins is kind of, it's got its moments for sure. And for younger people, yeah. pretty scary. But it's also got just moments where there's like the badass mom blending the gremlins and stuff, like, which are really funny. It's just a really good mix of different kind of genres. It really blends them together well. Yeah, Halloween was made in 1978, okay? And a lot of 70s horror movies for me, I don't like. I don't like 70s horror. I love 80s horror. So when people say, like, some of the best horror movies of all time, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween, I'm like, those are not there for me. The original Halloween, I get it. It's one of the very first of, like, the modern style of slashers almost, but it doesn't feel very modern. I want to like it more than I do, almost. I've watched it a few times, kind of going, I'm going to like it more this time. And I think it's fine, but I can't put it, like, right at the top, like I can with some of the 80s original movies. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, you know? I just don't think the original Halloween's really quite holds up in the same way to watch back today. And if you're just being honest with yourself, not trying to be like a critic, a lot of movies are just like that. They just don't hold up today, you know? I've got some movies from as far back as like the 1940s that I love, but they're generally like talkie movies, you know, where the script was more important than like the visuals almost. Horror movies from like 100 years ago, even from like 50 years ago, it's hard for them to still be scary today, and most of them just aren't. That's just kind of the truth of it. Some of them kind of work even though they're not scary. Some of them not so much. Oh, there's the original Dawn of the Dead. I was looking for that. Yeah, original Dawn of the Dead. Pretty good. Established lots of stuff. But it's hard to put it above like Night of the Living Dead. The Zack Snyder one, I'm not a big fan of Zack Snyder in general. I do think the Dawn of the Dead remake, it was pretty definitive in a lot of ways for a lot of zombie stuff, to be fair. I'm not a fan of him, but it's probably like a B, just because that does hold up a lot better today. But it had a similar kind of in the mall defining story as like the original Dawn of the Dead. Yeah. Those are pretty big. Did I have any of the other? I don't think so. I didn't have too many other big like zombie ones. 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later is an A. I think that's one of the best kind of individual, just standalone, unique zombie kind of films. It's hard. Zombies, like vampires, like werewolves, are hard to get like that right, you know? That's why I've been so impressed with like Korean cinema. Films like Train to Busan. There's a few of them in the last like 5 or 6 years have really been awesome. Done amazing things with like zombies. When else in cinema history have we seen like there's a few good other zombie ones. Zombies are almost better in comedies than they are in horror movies, or action movies. They're good in World War Z. But yeah, vampires are kind of tough to get right as well for real horror, because they've just all been done to death, you know, all of these kind of things. So it is kind of tricky. Willy's Wonderland. You know, I haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's yet. I kind of don't want to. I'll probably go see it, but I don't want to. Willy's Wonderland is basically if Five Nights at Freddy's came out a few years earlier and it starred Nicolas Cage for some reason. And it's awful. Again, it's like Velocipaster or Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. It's like basically an F-tier film. But it's really good. It's really funny. It's just Nicolas Cage as this guy who barely talks, who is cleaning up this place, and then the animatronics come to life, and he just kind of beats them to death one at a time when they come to life, and then goes back to cleaning. It's insane! It's so weird! But it's still great. Like, yeah. Apart from Annabelle, any of these other F-tier films, I would rather watch again than most of the D-tier films. Kind of weird. Some films are just so bad they're good. It's true. It's true. Yeah, it's a weird one. What else? Oh, Nightmare Before Christmas. Missed when I was kind of going through the not-so-scary ones. Nightmare Before Christmas, I think, is overrated. It's this 70-minute film which just got some nice songs and some just kind of completely forgettable songs in it. I'm not a big fan of the kind of claymation style and stuff, or the stop-motion style, or whatever. So that doesn't help. But yeah, I always thought it was just very overrated. People are way, way too far into it, if you ask me. I think it's like a C-tier film. You know, it's okay. It is, but yeah. That's just me. What else isn't that scary before we get back to the rest of them? Well, Nosferatu's not actually that scary. This is one of the oldest films here. Nosferatu is from like 1927, and it was called Nosferatu because they couldn't get the rights for the film to call it like Dracula and to do like a vampire. So he was Nosferatu and he was this creepy weird dude instead. But it's still one of the earliest, maybe the first vampire film. It's from the 20s, you know. It doesn't really hold up. Like, there's not a lot you can say about that. It's just the truth. There are a few of those here that a lot of them are kind of the same, if we're being honest with ourselves. Frankenstein, 1931. First Frankenstein movie. Frankenstein is also pretty hard to make scary. Like, genuinely scary. And from the 1930s, it was never going to be that scary. I've watched a bunch of these. Some of them are pretty good anyway. The Frankenstein one, well, wasn't really that great. Honestly. Didn't really think much about it. Where are some of the other ones like that? Because I think I put a few on. I put on a few different versions of Dracula. I'm gonna have to try and remember which is which. Don't know if I did put the 1930s Dracula on here. Okay, well, I'll come back to it. Alright. What do we got? Carrie. Original Carrie. Yeah. I like Stephen King books, but I'm not a massive fan of Carrie in general. I get it. It goes pretty well. It's quite nicely done. The film did a pretty good job of it. That's one from the 70s that I actually do quite like. It's probably like a B. It's actually quite a good job for like a 70s film of still being like quite, at times today, like quite spooky. But, yeah, it's not like really top tier for me or anything. Last Night in Soho is a recent one. It's got a weird premise. It's kind of intriguing. I love the style and flair of it. Edgar Wright's just cool. I mean, he did like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and stuff, and then he went on and did like Baby Driver, which I thought was really good. I just like his kind of style and flair. So I really like that about this. The actual plot and stuff, I thought it was pretty good. Pretty well, chugged along. It's kind of weird. It's kind of kooky. Don't know if it's quite an A tier. I think it's a B. I think it's a B. It's not quite an A for me. Yeah. Is there a way to zoom out on this? I might need to. Yeah, just kind of makes it easier to like see as I'm going. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, I didn't do the newer Halloween after doing the original. The newer Halloween, it doesn't really work as much of a horror movie. All three of the new Halloweens, I don't really feel like they're very much horror movies. They're kind of just more thrillers. A lot of serial killer, slasher stuff does feel more thrillery than outright scary nowadays, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Even the more modern Scream films don't really feel scary so much as thrillery, but it's a fine line. I'd probably give that like a B though. I thought it did well for one of those. It feels completely separate in many ways to the original, but it did pretty good. Hereditary, Midsummer. Where's bloody Beau is Afraid? God damn it, did I put that on? I think I did, but it's hard to keep track of anything. There's less films now, it's still hard to keep track. Now I've completely lost it. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, Ari Aster is like one of these big new horror directors, and he made these three. Hereditary, pretty fucking scary. Pretty fucking scary at times. Pretty messed up stuff. Good, but I'd say B. I don't think it's like top tier or anything. Midsommar is, I think, the closest thing I've ever watched to feeling like a horror epic. You can't really do that. Epic films are like 3+ hours. They're like these huge, long, sweeping stories. You can't really do that in the horror genre. Most horror films are like 90 minutes. You know, they're short. That's kind of one of the big defining traits of the genre. But Midsommar was like 2.5 hours. It was actually kind of epic. It worked on some levels. It was kind of just weird on other levels. There was some genuinely terrifying stuff in it. Just felt so creepy the whole time. I think I'd give it an A. I don't think it's very, very top tier. I'd kind of like to watch that one again soon. Yeah. Kind of see what I think about it now, after a few years. Beau is Afraid is then the third thing he made, and that came out this year, and it was just fucking nuts. I thought it was really really garbage. I think that's like an F tier, honestly. It was really, I hated it. I got some of the points he was trying to make, but it was all this stuff about like anxiety that he just went too far into being like really fucking off the wall crazy weird, and it just seemed like he was just doing it for the sake of it, honestly. So that kind of, it didn't really work for me too well. What else? The Fly, the 1980s one. Yeah, it's not. I'm not a huge fan. Jeff Goldblum could have worked. Doesn't really feel like it does, especially looking back at it now, modern day. Some 80s films that tried to go for like, yeah, and anything where they needed like basic effects and makeup stuff to really do a lot of the work for them. Some of it just ends up looking quite silly, you know. Even in some of the ones I like it does end up looking a little bit silly nowadays. The Birds is pretty freaking good to watch back, considering it's from the 60s. It is actually. You know what? It's probably still an A. I think The Birds is really well done. It's just birds go crazy, but there's so many goddamn birds. What are you gonna do? You're gonna get attacked and fucked up. that's the story. But it's really nice to watch back. There's a few like ones like that from the 60s and stuff that you're like, nah. That one you can really still watch back. Misery, I've always thought was pretty overrated, even as a book. Not a huge fan of it. It's probably like a C. Hello, P. How's it going? Look at all these horror movies. Happy Halloween. Oh, Mother. Mother is fucking stupid, insane, weird. Hate it. Watched it in the cinema. Was sitting there going, hated it. Awful time for everyone. No, just no. Oh, there's the original Candyman. I was looking for that. Original Candyman's probably better. Where'd I put the old one? D? I don't think it's, again, like, amazing. I think it's good. I think it's okay. It's fine. I'm just trying not to put so many things on the beat here. Now we really filled it up. Alright. Paranormal Activity. I found out the other day there's a film called Paranormal Whacktivity. Which made me laugh. But there's like 8 Paranormal Activity films now. And they're just the same thing. They're just all the same thing. It's not good. It's a modern update on this kind of like Blair Witch Project style. And found footage stuff. Very few times I've ever thought it worked. There was a film called... Oh, I've forgotten the name now. I just saw that recently. It had a really generic name, but it was really well done. It was like Haunt or, yeah. It was really well done as like it was like filmed in this like documentary style. Included found footage a lot, but that kind of format made found footage work for me. Normally it just doesn't. Paranormal Activity is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I kind of think the same thing about the Blair Witch Project. I get it. I get what they were trying to do. It's nice that they were able to release a proper film by making it that cheap. And I think you can in the horror genre, but I think it really... You just get a lot of it being like, oh, this is pretty dull when it's a found footage film, because they're trying to make it like somewhat realistic, and it doesn't work for me. Though I've completely lost it in here. These are way too small now. How are you doing today, P? How's your day? Yeah, I'm probably just going right past it. Or again, Blair Witch Project's randomly been missed because I was trying to get so many of these together. Shouldn't have been. It'll turn up in a second. Anyway, let's see. Don't Breathe is weird. Everyone praises the hell out of this. No one tells you about the insane bullshit that happens late in this film. There's this old man, and he's like blind, and they're like, hey, we could break into his house and steal stuff. Because he's blind. So they break into his house and start stealing stuff, and then he starts killing them because he's really good at that. And even though he's blind, and they're all like, oh god, oh no, oh god, he's killing us. And I'm like, yeah, but do I care? Is he the bad guy here? You broke into his house. Like, he is kind of like then trapping you in there, but like, you know, you broke into his house. Like, anyone who breaks into someone's house, if they get what, you know, if they get murdered, kind of too bad. But is he a Navy SEAL or something? I can't remember. He definitely had some kind of like training. But then, after being like, you know, oh yeah, or is he even a bad guy or whatever? Or is he just doing... Then, the girl that's trapped in there, who broke into his house, finds this other woman who he's locked up in the basement. And has been, like, impregnating with, like, this, like, giant, like, horrifying thing of his own. And it's... And at that stage, I was just kind of like... and I checked out pretty hard, because, that really fucking ruined it for me. So let's put that on like a, well, maybe a C. It was mostly pretty well done, but that just kind of left me going, what? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it was, yeah. Pretty frickin' bizarre, if you ask me. Pretty frickin' bizarre. But hey... The Sixth Sense is one of these classic films that you're like, oh, I saw dead people. And you're like, oh, yeah. But you watch it back after knowing what the twist is. And the rest of it doesn't really, like, do that much to hold it up. I think that's a C. Yeah, that seems pretty fair. This is a very nicely spaced list. I'm just noticing. It's a very nice distribution. Right. The Purge. The Purge is one of the weirdest things ever. The whole idea of the Purge, right? They're like, oh, you've got this world. Everyone can just do what they want. Crime sprees all night, one night a year. You know? The initial idea of it is fine. The fact that from that they made that movie, that was the first thing they decided to do with that, is insane. It was a rich family who had all the money they needed to just hole up for the night, but then open the fucking doors and let people attack them. Like, it seems so insane to me. And they've made a bunch of other movies with other concepts, and most of them are better than the first one. Since then, they did a TV show as well. But it just really made me go like, are you kidding? They came up with this idea and then wasted it on that as a first film, which really kind of trashed the franchise in general. Really didn't help them out. So yeah, no, that was pretty bad. That's like a D. But then the Purge Anarchy, I didn't want to put all of them in because I haven't put like all of most franchises in. That would just take us all night sitting here. But the Purge Anarchy was a much better version of that kind of thing. Still not like phenomenal, but it's like a B. It's like a B is fair enough. Right. Oh, Evil Dead franchise. I did put in the Evil Dead films because one just came out this year, and then there's the remake, and I was like, I should keep those, and then I was like, oh, but Evil Dead 2, so I just added them all in, all 5 of them. The original Evil Dead doesn't really properly hold up so much. Pretty weird, pretty funny in some ways, but pretty just nutsy mostly, you know? But Evil Dead 2 basically did the same thing, the same story, but with a higher budget. It was kind of half a reboot. Really weird job. And it was much better. And then they made Army of Darkness, where the dude who was being menaced by these demons in the cabin in the woods got teleported through time to medieval world and had to fight off an army of the dead. And at that point, you're wondering, is there like asbestos in my flat? Am I, going just completely nuts? It's really funky and funny and silly. It's one of the great epitomes of American trash cinema. And it's like a C. It's like a C. How about you just give me chocolate randomly? It's Halloween. Nothing about chocolate is random on Halloween. It's all fair game. It's all fair game, angels. Eat that shit. Congratulations. You have chocolate now. Right, wait, let me scroll down a little here. Okay. We're getting somewhere with these. Under the Skin is a really weird film, which most people just remember as the film where Scarlett Johansson took her kid off. And it's just kind of, she's this alien who's trying to, like, learn about humans and murder some humans. And it's not much of a horror film, really. It wasn't that good, honestly. Not really. Not really. Jewel is... Oh, it's also 12-year anniversary. It's your 12-year anniversary? That doesn't... That's not random. It's Wait, Halloween is your 12-year anniversary? Halloween is your anniversary? Okay, congratulations. Drag Me to Hell. Another modern one, which I think is a bit overrated, but it's still like a C. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. God, it's getting harder to see what some of these are. Eraserhead. I never really liked that much, honestly. Wasn't really one for me, just personally. Yeah. Oh, Jewel I was going to talk about. Jewel is the first film that Steven Spielberg ever made. Well, one of the greatest directors of all time. But not that many people have seen this. It's from like 1971. It was fairly cheap, but it was about this guy who was just driving home on a long journey, and this big like dude in a truck starts just chasing him down and like hitting his car and attacking him. And it's like, oh yeah, in that situation, you gotta keep driving. What do you do? And he even like tries to stop and he tries to like get help and stuff, but he can't. And it was fascinating. It was quite good as like a horror-y thriller type thing. So I kind of included it. I'd give it like a B. It's not like totally incredible, but for a first film, like you can see why Steven Spielberg got to go on and make things like Jaws, actually. Yeah, Jaws, I included as well. Jaws goes in A. I've never thought Jaws is really like S tier, but it's really good and deserves the kind of classic status it's got. It does. Yeah, it's good. It's Jaws, come on. Let's see. Oh, God, which Dracula's which? Jaws is good? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubting. Jaws is good. It's not one of my, like, personal favorites as, like, a horror movie, but Jaws is very good. Yeah. Right. I'm trying to see, like, what's what. Okay. You've got X and Pearl. This is kind of a weird deal. This is, again, Mia Goth. This director just decided he wanted to make a trilogy. The third one's not out yet, but he wanted to make a trilogy of horror movies about Mia Goth playing different characters who are all obsessed with fame and are all kind of insane. Basically, yeah. The first one, X, is about like this group in the 70s that go to this farm they've rented out and they're making a film. But they don't tell the owners of the farm, this old couple, that it's a porn film. And then they start filming, but then the old lady, who's really horny, starts killing them. It's pretty weird. It's probably like a B. But then they made Pearl, which is about that old crazy lady when she was young, and she also wanted to be a star and couldn't make it, and started killing her family. And it's also pretty good. Is it a B? It's maybe an A. That one's maybe an A. Yeah, I can give it an A. Hello again, Peace. Yeah, Jaws. Oh, it's your favorite P. Jaws is really good. I don't think I'm gonna put it on S. It ages a little, not too much. It's still pretty good. It's got some scares to it. It's everything you kind of imagine it to be when you like think about it later. You're kind of like, yeah, it's got this and that and that, and it's just very iconic in a lot of ways. Beautifully so. Steven Spielberg, man. I know he gets a lot of credit as like one of the best directors ever, but man, he's not overrated. He really deserves it. Happy Death Day is a funny movie. I like time loops, okay? I really like Palm Springs. I love Groundhog Day. There's a couple of romantic ones that I think are okay, even though they're kind of trashy. Happy Death Day is really funny. It's a slasher movie where she's caught in a time loop and she keeps getting murdered on the same day by the same dude wearing this big, like, baby mask. It's awesome. Don't like Jaws? Watched it too much in English? They let you watch Jaws in English class? My God, you're lucky. We had to watch Shrek the Third like so many times in school. Shrek the Third. Jaws would have been awesome to get to watch in school. Man, do that kids watch that nowadays? I guess it's not as scary as it used to be. Still, Happy Death Day is really funny. It's really funny. It's like a B. Yeah. That seems about right. Okay, we've got The Conjuring. The Conjuring, it's another big personal favorite for me. I think that whole period in the 2010s, I was kind of growing up. I was like 16, but perfect when The Conjuring came out to go watch it in cinema. It was one of my like first, probably, horror films in the cinema. And I've just loved the whole Conjuring thing since then. The whole like basis in reality they have based on these real characters, real demonologists, despite it kind of all be, you know, whatever. Like, I love that. I love that they kind of root it down like that. And I think they do so well, these films, at having some horror films like stay tense and scary the whole time. And that can work. But there's only so much you can like have before you kind of need a little And if they try to keep it tense the whole time, then you're kind of going to be at your, like, level when it's meant to be, like, scary a little bit. And then when it ups, it doesn't feel as much of a thing, you know what I mean? Whereas The Conjuring, what it does, and a few other horror films have tried to do this, but I think The Conjuring is still the #1 best one at it. The Conjuring has, like, fairly lighthearted moments. Chill moments, comedic moments. Moments where they're just sitting, playing the guitar, having a little chill sing-along or something. Nice, family-friendly atmosphere, you know? And then just bodonk! And the sudden, like, jump shock of that makes those jump scares so much better, in my opinion, than most horror films ever. Almost any horror film ever. We got to watch Grown Ups last year, now it's Saving Private Ryan. Okay. Had to watch it for an analysis? Oh, but that's awesome. Jaws is a great film to analyze. Saving Private Ryan's also a pretty good one. Grown-ups? You were analyzing Grown-ups? In between Jaws and Saving Private Ryan, you did Grown-ups? We're going to put The Conjuring on S. Like, right up there, kind of. Oh, I don't want that. The Conjuring 2, I don't think was as good. I still liked quite a lot about it. But it was definitely not quite on the same level. It's probably still an A. Probably still an A. I only liked Grown Ups so far. They're awful? What? You're telling me you disliked Jaws and Saving Private Ryan and liked Grown Ups, the Adam Sandler comedy? So Sinister's pretty good, but kind of only okay. Let's put that in B. It's just I don't no. I can't even nope. Nope. Alien is one of the best horror movies of all time. It's an easy one to forget. Because I'm not looking at chat. It's an easy one to forget when you talk about the best horror movies of all time because it's as much a sci-fi film as it is a horror film. But Alien is one of the... It's still very scary. You know? For 1979, those prosthetics and stuff on the Alien, like the makeup and the visuals, they're amazing. So well done. It builds atmosphere so nicely at the start. It is incredible. It's an easy S tier. It's one of the very best horror movies ever. People say that about The Shining, and I disagree, but I agree with it there. Don't think Pi agrees with me on this dick piss. That is one of the most horrific film takes I've ever heard. And like, that really hurts me to my core to hear that. An Adam Sandler comedy. Grown Ups is such a garbage film. I can't believe your teacher put that next to those others. My god, we had to study like literature in English. We didn't get to watch movies and analyze them. That would be a dream. Even if it was Grown Ups, but especially if it was those other ones. You're living my dream in English. That hurts me. Okay. American Psycho is highly overrated and is one of those films like Fight Club that people take way out of context, and like these like dudes online are going like, yeah, I want to be like Patrick Bateman, and it's like, no, that's the opposite of the point of that film, you dick. But yeah, it's like a C. It's fine. I think it's overrated. Escape Room, it was kind of fun. More as a thriller than a horror. Yeah. It's probably also a C, yeah. I'm just jamming things down in C that I don't have a lot of opinion on. I'm just kind of like, yeah, you know. There are some films where they just don't make an impact on you one way or the other. Fright Night's a bit like that. Fright Night's quite a fun film, but it's just like there's this vampire next door, and then nobody believes him. And I think we've just seen similar stories where it's like, oh, this is happening, but nobody believes me in horror since then. And before that it doesn't feel all that special to me. Again, it's fine, but it's like a C probably. The Jaws and Saving Private Ryan are the same teacher. My fave teacher did Grown Ups. So this is like when you told me about your favorite Pokemon all over again, Pace. Except this is far worse. So much worse. Holy crap. Wow. It is one of the biggest drop-offs of all time. It is a good horror movie. I do think that. I think it's like maybe an A. Maybe an A-level horror movie. And you know what? They fucked it up! Oh, wait, sorry. That's It too. Is that It too? That's for It 1. It 2 sucks. So unbelievably much. It was terrible. It was really, really awful. It isn't my favorite film. It is out of those three, though. That's still... just digging a bigger hole, you know? Okay. Okay. Alright, what else we got? Predator is a classic. Predator is great. Is Predator S tier? Not really. But, like, it's so iconic. Get to the chopper! The fucking, pushing too many pencils, dealing the roided out. Oh, yeah. It's classic. It's a great one. It's like Dog Soldiers, except with an alien instead of werewolves. But better. Predator is one of the, you know? It's one of the real, most memorable action films ever. As a horror film, it's not like top tier. As an action movie, it pretty much is S tier. But, yeah, we'll be fair. What else we got? Orphan. It's just this child, and they adopt her, and then she kind of tries to have sex with the husband, and then she reveals that she actually just looks like a child, but she's like in her 30s, and it's really weird. It's kind of a C as well. It's not actually that good. It's pretty creepy, because she still does look like a child, and the actress was still not a child, but like kind of young, and it was... I think my fave film is either Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat or The Vikings. There's just not enough disapproval in the world to give you right now, Piss. Oh, that's rough. That's rough. Let's keep jamming down things that are just whatever while I... Yep. What else is whatevery? Oh, The Babadook's kind of bad. Babadook is one of those movies everyone has praised the hell out of. And I watched it, and then I rewatched it, expecting to like it more, and I still didn't. Because it's just kind of stupid. I took a second Baba look, but it was kind of bad. Baba took all of my joy away. I tried watching it. I was kind of not enjoying it, but I was like, wait, let it Baba cook. It was still bad. I don't know why that came to me. It was really stupid. Yeah, it's not very good. No. It's like a D. It's like a D tier. Yeah. I thought it was going to be scary, but it never really Baba shook me up or anything. I can't stop. Oh, it's so stupid. The Lighthouse is made by the same guy that made The Witch. And it's just Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson in black and white sitting in a lighthouse being really fucking weird. I thought I was gonna like it. Not really. That's where The Witch is, yeah. I don't think either of those are great. And then he made The Northman last year, and it's not great either. Sadness coming out in puns, yeah. Your film opinions surprise me, Piers. Yeah. Oh, the other Evil Dead movies. Where'd I put, Evil Dead 2's on a B. I'll put this Evil Dead on a C. Evil Dead Rise was kind of awesome. I think that's the best one. Honestly, that just came out this year, and it was kind of incredible. I might give that an A. That kind of blew me away. I thought I'd like it. It was awesome. There's been some good horror movies this year, you know what? Well done this year. Totally Killer, I love to bits. Evil Dead Rise. Pearl just came out at the start of this year. There's been quite a few good ones. Talk to Me. Man. I do like Hamilton too. Hamilton's good. Maybe you're not a complete lost cause. We'll see. We'll see. You're on probation. Oh, Aliens. Yeah, we put Alien in. Aliens as a horror movie isn't as good, but, I mean, to be fair, you still kind of got to put it on S tier, right? I feel like we got a few S's still in here for sure. Yeah. Child's Play, the original Chucky movie. It's fine. Chucky's never been that good, you know? This is why I almost missed Chucky. When I was going through, like, lists of the best horror movies, making sure I didn't miss anything important, Chucky never came up. None of the Chucky films or Child's Play ever came up. You know why? Because it's just not the best by anyone's standard or metric. It's just, you know. What are your guys' favorite films then? The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride is the best film. I can give you a comprehensive list of films you should watch if you want some of the best of all time. I can give you a list of 1,000 films I've watched that are better than Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. In my opinion, again, you might just have some extra reasons for liking that if it caught you the right age or whatever, and that's okay. But yeah, interesting. An American Werewolf in London I've always thought was slightly overrated. I think it's good, but it's not like, you know, it's not like top tier or anything. No, I don't know. Same with the original Poltergeist. These are kind of easy B tier films that are like good, but they don't blow me away like they blow some people away. The Strangers. I watched that recently. Yeah, it's from like 2008, and it feels quite 2008. It's got Liv Tyler in it. It's the very tail end of her career before it was just kind of gone, you know. Jennifer's Body. That is, you know, Jennifer's Body is one of these films that's experienced this real crazy resurgence in popularity recently, and it wasn't until I went back and watched it recently that I realized why. It's a beautiful time capsule, you know, for like 2008, 2009 kind of area. Some of these horror films, when I say they're very 2008, very 2009, I mean that they've got a lot of these things about them that are kind of stupid, that people did a lot back then. Jennifer's Body, in the same way that, okay, Back to the Future. Back to the Future manages to do a lot of, like, really nostalgic stuff for the 50s, because that's what it travels back to. But in Back to the Future, the present day is 1985, right in the middle of the 80s. And it feels like this beautiful time capsule of so much 80s stuff, even though it was being made in the 80s. Like, they shouldn't know what was important enough to the 80s when they're still in the 80s to be able to do that. Jennifer's Body feels like one of those films for, like, the noughties. It's this wonderful time capsule. It's not actually that good, but it's a very interesting kind of film. I'd maybe give it a B. Yeah. What else? Ready or Not's a very fun film. We went through this phase in, like, 2018 or so, where a lot of films came out that were about people being hunted by people. Not in like a slasher way, in like this group of people, like rich people or whatever, is going to go hunt you now. Ready or Not was one of those. It was a good one of those. It was this woman, she got married into the family, and then they started hunting her. I'd give that like a B as well. It's very fun. I got these Dracula films here. I got that one. I'm trying to remember which is which. Oh, there's the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's not good. That's bad. I'm happy to just straight up call that quite bad. I don't like it. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's iconic. When you watch like the original Halloween, even, which I think is aged quite a lot, I still like see the iconic nature of it. When I watch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm like, this is bad. I want to turn it off. I don't like any of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, actually. I think it's just a bad franchise. I don't get why people say it's one of the most iconic horror films ever. It's not. Land Before Time, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and original Lion King. Land Before Time. That's a random one to add into that mix, Angels, but okay. Yeah, alright. Oh, there's The Nun 2. This just came out last month. And it's probably slightly better than the original Nun. Maybe give it a... No, it's probably still a D, honestly. It's quite a similar level. It did quite well for a sequel in not going down a level. It's probably slightly better than the first one, but The Nun's just not a very good franchise. And it just kind of messes up the timeline of the Conjuring films quite a bit, really. Just kind of fucks with it all. It's a mess. What We Do in the Shadows is very funny. Oh, it's very funny. It's probably a B. It's great. It made like Taika Waititi big, and then he went and did like Thor Ragnarok and Jojo Rabbit and stuff. And then they made the TV show What We Do in the Shadows, which is also very funny. All very worth it. Mockumentary style vampire stuff, really funny. There's 3 Draculas here. Okay, that looks like the 1930s one, which is pretty aged. Not really that great to watch back today. The Christopher Lee one from like the 50s is kind of iconic. Also aged, but maybe a B there. And then they did this newer take on it, which isn't new anymore. Where'd it go? Which came out in like 1992 and starred Gary Oldman, and it was good too. It's maybe a B as well. I might give that one an A. Yeah, it's really good. I was reminded of how I refused to watch any other movie when I was young. My sisters tried to put on other films, but I cried unless they put on Land Before Time. Wow. I've watched a lot of Land Before Times. There's way too many of them. They're the kind of films that for me, like, they're not that good to watch back now as an adult. You know, like some like The Lion King, you know, a lot of big Disney ones. You watch them back now, they lose nothing for me being an adult watching them back. Land Before Time is one of those good examples of an animated film that I watch back now and I'm just kind of like, you know, a little bit. All right, we're getting close to the end. The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog, a fun film. I love John Carpenter's style. B. But The Thing, also by John Carpenter, S. That's one of my personal favorites. That's a personal favorite horror film for me. I really love The Thing. If you asked me normally, I'd kind of say, like, yeah, top 5 horror movies. Because, like, Totally Killer, Shaun of the Dead, Ghostbusters, not really horror movies, are they? But Scream, Alien, Conjuring, The Thing, these are all definitely in my regular top 5 when I'm talking to people. Doctor Sleep's getting there, though. I just haven't watched it enough times yet, but I'd like to watch that again. It's definitely up there. Final Destination. You know? Final Destination. It is what it is, and what it is trash. Fun trash, but like C trash. And then the films got worse. After that, all the other films are worse. There's the Blair Witch Project. I didn't forget about it. Well, that's bad. Yeah. Blair Witch Project's one of those ones you want to like. You want to believe that a film made so incredibly cheaply, found footage style, can be as good as other films. And some people seem to think it is. I really don't. I watch it and I'm just like, it's boring. Because what they were trying to do is make it feel realistic. But when you try and it's like when you take like a true story film and it's kind of dull because you stuck too close to the true story. There's a reason. Everyone says, oh, this probably isn't actually what happened because it's Hollywood. But there's a reason that Hollywood does that. It's to make it more interesting and, you know, more fun to watch. That's what they're more concerned about than telling a true story. Because in a case like the Blair Witch Project, where your primary thing is, oh, we want to like tell like this as if it's a real thing happening, it kind of gets dull. It's just kind of boring. There's a lot of them standing around just talking, filming themselves, just being like, oh, yeah, we should go over there and do that. For ages. Like, oh, yeah. I can't enjoy it. I can't do it. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, another one that's quite aged now. I'd put it in B. I want to put it higher, but It's just, it doesn't really hold up quite that well. I feel like we've got a lot of the modern classics here. We've also got the 80s ones that I do love. Friday the 13th, the original. It's hard to put it on S because it is aged. I do love that franchise. Like, I find them all very watchable, even the ones that are kind of bad with Friday the 13th. It's just simple. It's the epitome slasher. You know, it's the classic. And Jason is the classic. You're never going to be able to fucking kill him. He's just unstoppable kind of dude. I'll put it on A. Probably same with Nightmare on Elm Street. These both came out in 1980, the originals. And their franchises have gone to some weird, bad, terrible, awful places. Really bad movies. Jason X was the one where Jason Voorhees went into space. That was a Friday the 13th film to watch. And they did Freddy vs. Jason as well, which is also fine. Those two guys are iconic. Most of their films aren't actually that good. I love the originals because they feel so 80s. I'm a big fan. But, yeah, neither of them are quite S tier, really. Silence of the Lambs. Another one I'd be tempted to go S tier. But I'm not, like, that big a fan of it personally, even though I acknowledge it's very good and very well done, and Hannibal Lecter is fucking terrifying and all that, you know? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 10 Cloverfield Lane. Similar. A tier. Is Cloverfield here? Oh, yeah, it is. Cloverfield. Because it was like, let's do found footage with an alien invasion going on. And that almost worked, and then just, it doesn't. And again, every found footage film, the start is so boring. The first, like, whole half hour is so dull in every found footage movie. God! It's very annoying to me. Yeah, Cloverfield I think did a good job. 10 Cloverfield Lane did a good job. That was terrifying in a whole new way and didn't need aliens to be terrifying. It was interesting. The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, not really a horror film. We're going to put it on B, just because I probably wrote down The Mummy so I could get, like, the classic Boris Karloff, like, 1930s one. But then I got a poster of that instead. It's not really a horror movie. But it is great. Brendan Fraser, right? Nice, nice. The Omen is the perfect Antichrist child film. Classic. Terrifying child. Really terrifying child. It's probably like a B. Probably like a B. Again, 70s horror. I felt like it was in between. Like, 60s style horror was still like this very old-fashioned thing, you know? And there was a lot more like slickness and stylized kind of kookiness by the 80s. The 70s was the in-between place, and I felt that just in-between, like, it's still like this old-style movie, and the characters are very old-fashioned style, but in this manner that's trying to become more stylized, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to me, and I don't really love a lot of 70s horror because of that. Alien is one from the 70s that I really love, but that was sci-fi, so it was kind of very different the way they styled it. Yeah. Psycho is a complete classic. Complete utter classic that remains a complete and utter classic. It's another one that I find it a little bit hard to put on S. With Hitchcock, I love a lot of Alfred Hitchcock films. Some great classic ones. I think Dial M for Murder, which isn't a horror movie, so I didn't put it on here. It's probably my favorite. That's probably like an S tier for me. Psycho is amazing. And it's everything you think it is when you look at it. But, yeah, it's not quite an S for me. No. Tremors is a classic film that is not that good, but I love, because I've just seen it so many times when I was younger. It's kind of a horror-y movie that you can definitely watch when you're relatively young, you know? It's not that scary. It's these big creatures under the ground, but it's this little town. Kevin Bacon's in it. It's just chill. It's just a really chill, cool film. Ju-on, that's the original The Grudge film. Again, Americans have made a few of these. Awful. The one they made in like 2020, 2021 was really horrifically bad. It was so bad. The original Japanese one is good. Maybe only a C tier. I've never thought it was that great. It was good. It was well done. Hi, Nitrogen. But, no, I don't think it's, like, huge for me. Hellraiser is a franchise I haven't actually gone through all the films of. I've seen this original one. It never did quite as much for me as, like, Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween. I think it's okay. It's alright. But it's probably like a C, even the original. Yeah. Barbarian. Barbarian's a weird movie. Oh, it's a weird movie. This woman goes to this I don't even know how to describe it hardly. She goes to stay at this like Airbnb and finds in the basement this giant long tunnel that leads down into this horrible hellhole where this terrifying giant boob monster lady like attacks her and tries to keep her as like her baby. And it's nuts. It is good. It's definitely good. It's like a B. It is nuts. It's just one of the most insane, like, I don't even know what's happening here, horror movies I've seen in a while. I Am Legend. I Am Legend is good. It is good. I guess it's an A. Like, I guess it's an A, you know? It's one of those films that every time I watch it back, I'm kind of like, yeah, this is actually goddamn good. I never expect it to be quite as good as it is, but it is actually really well made. Predators. Yeah, I had Predator in. I put Predators in too. Predators is okay. It's probably a C. It's not actually, you know. It's not quite as good as you think it is when you watch it back. It's a fun one. It's not a bad one. There's some bad movies in these franchises. Prey was great though. Holy crap. Prey as a concept. Native American warrior against this alien predator dude. Blew me out of the water. Because they were just releasing it on Disney Plus. You know? And it's not like the Predator Alien franchises have come out with any truly great films recently, so I was expecting nothing. And then I saw it and I was like, that was completely jaw-dropped. That was one of the best films of last year. Last year? 2022? Yeah. The original Black Christmas is another one. It's from like 1974. This thing, it's so old. It came out before Halloween. It's still genuinely kind of scary and such a good premise. It was the first film. It was genuinely the first film to do the whole the calls coming from inside the house thing. Like, I just watched that last Christmas for the first time and I was like, what the fuck? Nobody ever talks about this. And they've remade it a couple times. They've never made it into a proper franchise, so maybe that's why it's not as well remembered as like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which it came out in the same year as, or Halloween, or Scream, or, you know, any of these. But it deserves to be remembered that well, because it's actually awesome, even to watch back today, which I don't think for most 70 horrors. Cabin in the Woods. Oh, there's a couple here. There's a couple of controversial ones here that are really famous, well-known modern ones that I don't actually like, even though people, like, critics love them. The Cabin in the Woods, I thought was kind of bad. Probably like a C. It's kind of bad. The concept's kind of, like, funny or whatever, but I don't think it was a good horror film. And then when it kind of evolves into this, like, weird meta thing instead, I didn't think it was that good at it either. I don't know. But critics really love that one. And the other one is It Follows. Everybody's been talking about this because they just announced They Follows, a sequel to this. Again, like Smile, I thought this was just such a generic, there's a demon curse thing, pass it on. But they used it as like, oh, but the demon is like kind of an STD or something. You have to use sex to pass it on. And it was like, oh, that's the big smart thing everyone's talking about? Okay, but whatever. Like, it just didn't feel smart to me. It didn't feel that well done. I didn't like it that much. And I watched it again. All of these horror films that I've not liked, that everyone else loves, I've watched at least twice to try and check whether I'm wrong. You know, try to go in open-minded. Nope. Not for me. The Lost Boys is one of those classic kind of weird cookie culty ones that if people say you love or hate it, I just think it's okay. Personally. Original Prom Night is good. It's good. It's another good old slasher that people don't remember as well as it probably deserves. Not maybe quite as good as Black Christmas, but I think it's on that kind of level. It is good. The Exorcist. You can't not put it there, you know? It is the classic. And when you rewatch it, it's got all the cool atmosphere, the great theme. The characters it's really well acted. It's not as scary as it used to be, but it is still really well done. It's another 70s horror one it found its style quite well by just sticking to the older, like 60s almost style. It didn't really feel anywhere near being like an 80s horror. So that kind of worked. Back had to move things downstairs so I can draw, because I gotta give out the Halloween stuff. Oh, I had to move your art things downstairs. I thought you had to, like, clear space in your room or something. I was like, what do you mean? Moving stuff downstairs. Zombieland is another A. I love Zombieland. I had a real sweet spot for it when it came out, because I was... 2009? I was 12? Yeah. Perfect kind of age for that kind of thing. And I still love it to watch it back. It's really funny. It's just American Shaun of the Dead, you know? Shaun of the Dead is a very British version of this kind of comedy zombie style. Zombieland is a very American version of it. But not in a bad way necessarily. When I say it's a very American version of something, that usually means bad things. Not so much with that. What have we got left here? We got The Wicker Man. Everyone laughs at The Wicker Man because of the remake. You know, Nicolas Cage going at the bees and acting all insane the whole way through. But I thought, like, oh, but if I go back and watch the original, I'm sure that's a horror classic, right? And it was just as bad. It was really awful. Really awful. That is an F tier for me. I hated it. Pet Sematary is one of those things they keep trying to get right, and I don't think they ever have. The original, I'd say, is a C, honestly. I don't think it's actually that good. It's just my opinion, you know, but I don't think it's that good. Quiet. Oh, yeah. This is a good last set, actually. Oculus and Hush were both made by Mike Flanagan, who did Dr. Sleep and Haunting on Hill House, and just a bunch of films I really love, including these two. They're both really good. Oculus, kind of weird. It's about this, like, demon in a mirror, like... It's hard to describe. It's about this brother and sister, and they were, like, terrorized by this mirror when they were young, and it resulted in, like, was it their father got killed? And then they grow up, and they come back to the mirror to try and fight it off, but it's one of the best examples of, like, a horror movie where they're trying to, like, match up to this demon, even though it's got all these, like, abilities, all these things the mirror can do. They're, like, trying to, like, match up to it in all these really intelligent ways to trap it. It is... It makes a lot of sense, you know? I think Mike Flanagan's a guy that just looks at the horror genre and goes, okay, but, like, what could you do with this that people haven't done? And he kind of does that. Like Hush. Hush is another one he did. It stars his wife, and she is deaf. And there's this guy who wants to, like, break into her house. So it's a home invasion film, but you're deaf. You can't hear them breaking in. Like, again, it's just like this idea of basic. You take something basic in the horror genre, like a home invasion, or like a demon, and then you just kind of twist it a little bit, and do something so awesome that feels very original, and becomes just a great film. That's his style, you know? He's done that with a few different things. Those are two of the best examples. And Dr. Sleep, I thought, was just absolute mind-blowing. Jordan Peele, I already talked about earlier, he did Nope, which I didn't like that much. Before that, he did Get Out, which is on top of most people's lists for best horror movie of the 21st century, and it's hard to deny. It's got horror, it's got comedic aspects, it's got racism, which is always so prevalent right now. It's genuinely great at doing everything it touches. It's amazing. It's really amazing. And then he made Us after that, which is also very good. Not quite as good, but I'm happy to put it on A. Yeah. Us is awesome. Did you rate A Quiet Place? Did I rate A Quiet Place? Oh, A Quiet Place is one of the last two, Angels. It's one of the last two. A Quiet Place is also great. That's another really great modern one. I mean, like, I love when they just... when there's an actual core to a film, you know? Think about a Harry Potter wand. This is a great way to describe film, I think. A Harry Potter wand works and is magic, not because it's a stick, but because it's got, like, this core to it, like a unicorn hair, or like a phoenix feather, or, you know, there's something in the middle that you don't necessarily see, but it's like, it's there the whole way through the film. That is the core of it. A Quiet Place works so well because it's a horror film, but it's a film about family, you know? Some horror films are like, oh yeah, it's about this family, and they're trying to be a family. There are very few horror films that I actually feel are about families, you know? action films, you know, Fast and Furious, whatever. But some horror films just kind of, oh, there's this demon and these people have to run from it. A Quiet Place is great because it's about this family and you feel like they're this family. It's so well acted as a family. Is it an A or is it an S? I think I'll put it on S. Yeah, I think I will. Yeah. I could watch that anytime. I really liked it. Yeah. It is awesome. The second one is also good. And then they're doing like a prequel soon. They're doing like a prequel about like the first day of the alien invasion in that world. It's not starring the same people, but they're involved in making it. And yeah, it's just really well done, you know. There's these aliens. They want to attack you. Need to see the second one? It's good. Obviously, you know, one character isn't in the sequel, but no, it's really well done. It's still really good. The kids who just came were dressed up like with the inflatable alien costumes, so it looks like they're being taken away. That sounds great. That sounds awesome. Oh, and last is The Invisible Man. Honestly, I'm also going to put that on S. That also is, it's similar to A Quiet Place. It's a modern film with a great core to it. The core there being abuse. You know, like domestic abuse. Like, this woman has been domestically abused by her boyfriend. She runs away. She gets away from him. And then she hears he's died. Except, did he die? Or did he turn himself invisible using this machine he made? And it's genuinely terrifying. Really good job at being terrifying. And it's got that great theme at the middle of it. It's such a good job. And Elizabeth Moss is a great actress. So it worked really well. That's the thing. Sometimes you think, oh, in the horror genre, it doesn't matter too much, like the actors, right? But if you look at the very best horror films, most of them have got really iconic actors in them. And there's a reason for that, you know? Because if you do go and get proper good mainstream actors, it's kind of worth dishing out for. You do get, it's that next level. Those are two great examples of modern day ones that have done that. And Get Out, it proved to be doing that because Daniel Kaluuya has gotten really big since then, because he deserves it. Elizabeth Moss is in a few horror movies. I can't think of too many more she's in apart from that one. That's definitely the biggest one she's done, but maybe, yeah. She's done quite a lot of stuff, and I think she's really good. She did like The Handmaid's Tale and stuff, so she was on TV for a long time, and then Mad Men. She's been on TV mostly, I think. But yeah, no. And there we go! There it is, folks. Perfection. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to save that up. I'll post it in the Discord. And apart from that, I hope you guys all enjoy your Halloween. Hope you all have fun stuff planned. Hope you're going to do some, I don't know, shit or something. Something. And I'm going to go do stuff myself. So I'm going to finish in nice, good time. I hope you all enjoyed. And have learned something new about horror movies. Maybe. I don't know. And yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy. I'll see you for the Christmas season. I followed none of this, but it was fun hearing you be excited. Thanks. Have a nice night, guys. I'll see you for November/Christmas tomorrow.